My beloved sisters and brothers, good morning. On this blessed day, October 6th, the Lord has seen fit to awaken us once more. He has touched our weary bodies with the finger of His mercy, whispering, "Rise, child. Rise, for I have not forgotten you." When you open your eyes at the dawn of day, do not believe it was the alarm clock that woke you. No, it was not the rooster crowing nor the noise of the city streets. It was the breath of God. It was His eternal Spirit declaring that your story is not yet finished, your journey not yet complete. So rise, my friend. Rise with gratitude deep in your bones. Rise with praise heavy on your lips. Say thank you, Lord, for another chance to love, another chance to learn, another chance to live. When you wake up with God, you do not rise empty-handed. You rise clothed in courage, wrapped in mercy, crowned with favor. You rise with strength that outlasts the storm, with joy that defies sorrow, with hope that refuses to die. This morning prayer is not a ritual. It is a conversation with the one who knows your secrets and your scars. Tell Him your fears and watch Him trade them for faith. Hand Him your worries and feel Him replace them with wisdom. Offer Him your tears and He will return them as rivers of peace. On this October morning, stand tall in the sunlight of His grace. Let the warmth of His promise bathe your soul. Let His word be the compass that directs your feet. Walk boldly, knowing that if God woke you up, He has also gone ahead of you. He has prepared blessings you cannot yet see and victories you have not yet claimed. My beloved, when the morning comes and your eyes flutter open, do not deceive yourself into believing it was your alarm clock, that little piece of machinery that ushered you back into the world of the living. No, it was not the ticking of the clock, nor the crowing of the rooster. It was the breath of the Almighty that stirred your chest, the hand of the Eternal that pulled you gently from the valley of slumber. Each morning, before you know it, before you can name it, before your lips even remember how to form the word thank you, grace has already touched you. Mercy has already claimed you. Life has been restored unto you again, not by your doing, but by His unfailing love. Child, every sunrise is a miracle written in the sky. The sun does not owe us its light, nor do the stars owe us their surrender. Yet faithfully, they bow before the command of God, giving way to another chance for us to rise. How wondrous it is that the same God who flung stars into the heavens and told the oceans where to stop, stoops low to whisper to your soul, "Wake up, my child, I am not finished with you." You see, waking up is not ordinary. Waking up is not common. Waking up is the most extraordinary miracle disguised as routine. There are some who laid their heads down last night and did not rise with us today. Their stories have closed, their chapters sealed, and yet here you are, breath flowing, blood moving, vision returning, purpose calling. That is no small thing, darling heart. That is no casual occurrence. That is the mighty grace of God stretching itself over you like a blanket of light. If you doubt His love, remember the evidence that greets you each morning when your lungs draw in that first draught of air. If you question His mercy, look at the gift of consciousness returning to you, and you will see His mercy is new every morning. The truth is, none of us earned the dawn. None of us purchased the privilege of another sunrise. We stumble, we fall, we doubt, we complain, and yet His love still chooses us. When you wake, you are stepping into a continuation of His mercy story. You are walking into a new page of His faithfulness. My child, do not cheapen the miracle of waking up by calling it ordinary. Do not let the habit of living dull the holiness of opening your eyes. When you open your eyes, God has chosen you again. He has appointed you again. He has said, "Rise." There is still more for you to do, more for you to see, more for you to become. Every breath you take upon waking is a holy declaration that God has not forgotten you. He has not forsaken you. He has not grown weary of you. Some nights you went to bed, heavy, burdened, broken, weary, wondering if the morning would even be worth seeing. Yet the morning still came, and it carried with it the whisper of hope. God Himself became your alarm, your wake-up call, your promise that the night is never stronger than the dawn. My dear one, I need you to see the sacredness of this. The world may tell you that waking is nothing special, that it happens to everyone, that it is automatic. But I am here to remind you life is not automatic. Life is authored. Life is intentional. Life is sustained by the God who speaks, and it is so, who wills, and it becomes. Your awakening today is proof that heaven has not closed its book on you, proof that your assignment is still breathing, proof that your prayers are still echoing in the chambers of God's heart. So rise, but do not rise in haste. Rise with reverence. Rise with gratitude spilling from your lips before your feet even touch the floor. Rise with an understanding that you are walking into a gift, not a guarantee. Say to yourself, I am alive, and that alone is enough to testify of God's goodness. For if He woke you, He intends to keep you. If He woke you, He intends to guide you. If He woke you, He intends to provide for you. Think about it, child. How many dangers you slept through. How many unseen arrows of the night tried to pierce your peace but failed. How many schemes of the enemy were dissolved in the midnight hour because angels were stationed at your bedside. You did not wake up by accident. You woke up by providence. God's hand was your guard. His mercy was your covering. His promise was your pillow. That is why you are alive today. And so when your eyes open, let your soul open too. Let your spirit awaken to the truth that God has blessed you again. Lift your voice and say, thank you, Lord, for another chance. Thank you for the gift of being. Don't rush past the miracle of morning as if it were nothing. Acknowledge it, embrace it, cherish it, for it is in gratitude that your day finds its power. It is in thankfulness that your heart finds its strength. Child, I tell you, the greatest wealth you have today is not in your bank account, not in your closet, not in the titles or praises of men. The greatest wealth is the breath in your body, the heartbeat in your chest, the rising of the sun that shines upon your face. Do not despise it. Do not minimize it. Honor it with joy. Honor it with love. Honor it with prayer. For as long as you are alive, you are evidence of God's enduring faithfulness. And let this truth sink deep into your bones. Every awakening is a summons. God wakes you because there is still love for you to give, still kindness for you to extend, still wisdom for you to learn, still healing for you to experience, still prayers for you to pray, still songs for you to sing. Waking up is God's way of saying, the world still needs the light I placed within you. Rise and shine. Yes, my child. Waking is not ordinary, it is extraordinary. It is heaven's daily kiss upon the earth. It is the mercy of God renewing itself upon your life. And when you rise with this awareness, when you start your day with gratitude and awe, no darkness can steal your joy, no trial can snatch your peace. For you will know deep in your soul that every morning is a miracle, and you are the chosen witness of it. So on this day, October 6th, when you wake, don't just wake up. Wake up with God. Wake up with thanksgiving. Wake up with the certainty that you are wrapped in love, cradled in purpose, and destined for glory. And let every step you take, every word you speak, every breath you draw, be a living testimony that you understand this truth. Waking is the gift, and life is the altar upon which you lay your praise. Amen. When the first light of dawn stretches its arms across the horizon, when the earth shifts from the hush of night into the hum of morning, the soul is invited into its holiest posture, gratitude. Not the casual kind that rolls off the tongue without weight, not the perfunctory thank you uttered like a whisper, but the kind of gratitude that rises from the belly, that shakes the bones, that fills the eyes with tears and the heart with fire. Gratitude that declares, Lord, I see the miracle in the ordinary. I feel the blessing in the simple. I honor the gift of being alive. For too many of us, the morning is greeted not with reverence, but with rushing. We stumble toward coffee, toward schedules, toward worries that have been waiting for us like unwanted visitors. We reach for phones, for screens, for noise, before we reach for God. But hear me, child. Before your feet touch the floor, before your mind fills with the demands of the day, let your spirit bow in thanksgiving. Gratitude at dawn is the key that unlocks heaven's peace upon your life. The breath in your body is a song you did not write but are allowed to sing. The heartbeat in your chest is a drum you did not build but are allowed to dance to. The rising of the sun is a canvas you did not paint but are allowed to marvel at. Gratitude teaches you to recognize the divine in these small overlooked miracles. Gratitude sanctifies the ordinary and makes it holy. Gratitude transforms a common morning into a sacred encounter with God. Beloved, gratitude is not about waiting until your life is free from trouble. Gratitude is about finding the presence of God right in the midst of the storm. Gratitude says, yes, I have battles, but I also have blessings. Yes, I have burdens, but I also have breath. Yes, I have wounds, but I also have waking. Gratitude refuses to let pain steal the power of praise. Gratitude takes the broken pieces of yesterday and lays them gently before God, whispering, "Thank you for keeping me through it all." At dawn, when shadows are chased away by light, gratitude teaches us to remember that God is also chasing away our despair with hope. The sun rising is not simply nature's rhythm. It is God's reminder that no night lasts forever. Every morning is an echo of His promise. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy cometh in the morning. Gratitude acknowledges that promise, receives it, clings to it, and breathes it into the marrow of the soul. Child, gratitude is a shield. It guards the heart against bitterness. It protects the mind from despair. It keeps the spirit from falling into the trap of entitlement. For when you are truly grateful, you cannot be simultaneously resentful. When you are deeply thankful, jealousy loses its grip. Gratitude builds walls of light around the soul, fortresses of joy that no enemy can penetrate. You may say, "But I have so little to be thankful for." My darling, gratitude does not measure in abundance. It measures in awareness. You woke up today, and that is enough. Your lungs filled with air, and that is enough. Your eyes open to the miracle of light, and that is enough. Gratitude does not count possessions, it counts mercies. Gratitude does not need a mansion, it needs only the blessing of shelter. Gratitude does not need riches, it rejoices over bread on the table, water in the cup, love in the heart. Gratitude sees treasure where the ungrateful see nothing at all. Think of the child who wakes with nothing but a smile, who plays with sticks and stones as though they were jewels. Think of the elder who rises each morning, aching in body, but grateful for one more day to see the faces of those they love. Think of the mother who sings in the kitchen, though her cupboards are sparse, because gratitude has taught her to feast on hope. Gratitude transforms what is small into what is splendid. Gratitude multiplies blessings, not because it changes what you have, but because it changes how you see. Each morning, let gratitude be your first word, your first thought, your first act. Whisper it to the ceiling above you, shout it to the walls around you, hum it to your soul. Say thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for the chance to try again. Thank you for forgiveness that covers me, for mercy that greets me, for love that surrounds me. This simple act of gratitude is not small, it is the seed of miracles. For when gratitude is planted, joy is harvested. Do not let your gratitude be conditional, tied only to blessings that are large, visible, and undeniable. Train your heart to thank God for the small mercies, the coolness of air on your skin, the sound of birds outside your window, the fact that you can stand, can walk, can breathe. For the soul that learns to bless God for the little will also bless Him for the great. Gratitude at dawn is practice for gratitude at dusk. If you start the day in thanksgiving, you will end it in peace. And hear this truth, my child. Gratitude draws God near. A thankful heart is a magnet for divine presence. When you lift up your thanks, you are not just speaking into the air. You are building an altar where God Himself dwells. Gratitude is worship in its purest form, for it asks for nothing and acknowledges everything. It bows not in demand but in reverence. And when God finds a grateful heart, He delights to pour more blessings into it. So when you rise tomorrow, do not rise empty of song. Rise with thanksgiving as your melody, with praise as your companion, with gratitude as your crown. Do not let the rush of life strip you of this holy moment. Pause, breathe, acknowledge the miracle. Pause, breathe, give thanks. For in the end, gratitude is not about what you have, it is about who you know. And if you know God, you have reason enough to be grateful every morning of your life. Gratitude at dawn is the soul's declaration, I am alive and God is with me, and that, my beloved, is everything. When you rise with God, child, you do not rise weak and frail, though your bones may ache and your body may complain. You do not rise timid and uncertain, though the world may whisper threats and troubles may knock at your door. No, when you wake up with the Almighty, you rise wrapped in His strength, girded with His courage, crowned with His favor. You may not see the robe upon your shoulders, you may not feel the crown upon your head, but heaven knows it, and the earth will recognize it when you walk. Strength, real strength, does not come from muscles that flex or voices that shout. Strength comes from the God who lifts you when your own spirit has fallen flat. Strength comes from the whispered assurance in your ear, fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And when those words carved by eternity wrap around your heart, you walk differently, you breathe differently, you endure differently. Rising with divine strength means understanding that the weight you carry is no longer yours alone. Oh yes, life will hand you burdens, some heavy, some unbearable. Life will lay sorrow upon your shoulders and try to convince you that you must carry it by yourself. But God, in His mercy, has already slipped beneath your load. He carries the weight you cannot. He shoulders the grief you cannot. He walks with you so that even when the road bends low, you rise tall in spirit. Beloved, when you rise with divine strength, you rise with joy that does not make sense to the world. People will look at you and wonder, how do they still smile after all they've endured? How do they keep walking when others would have stopped long ago? They will not understand that your joy is not born of circumstance but of communion. They will not understand that your strength does not come from what you hold in your hand, but from who holds your hand. And when you rise in that kind of strength, you become a living testimony. You become a sermon without words. Think about it. A flower blooms not because the soil is easy, but because the sun kisses it and the rain nourishes it. Likewise, your strength is not found in perfect conditions, but in the God who waters your soul with mercy and shines His favor upon you. You rise not because life is easy, but because grace is greater. You rise not because the mountain is small, but because your God is bigger. Do you remember, child, the times you thought you could not go on, the nights when your tears were rivers, the mornings when your body refused to move, and yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still believing. That is divine strength. Not the absence of struggle, but the presence of endurance. Not the elimination of pain, but the promise of peace in the midst of it. Not the removal of the storm, but the assurance of a hand steadying your boat through the waves. Divine strength will dress you in courage that is quiet but unshakable. It will give you the power to forgive when your flesh wants to hold a grudge. It will give you the patience to wait when everything in you wants to rush. It will give you the faith to trust when all evidence tells you to fear. Rising with divine strength is not about shouting louder or walking faster. It is about walking steadily, walking surely, walking faithfully, because you know you are not walking alone. And let me tell you, my dear one, when you rise with divine strength, the enemy trembles. For he expected you to stay down. He expected the weight of sorrow to crush you, the sting of betrayal to break you, the agony of loss to silence you. But when you wake in the morning and rise in the name of God, your very movement is defiance. Your very breath is rebellion against the darkness. You become a living proclamation that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You become proof that the grave cannot hold what God has destined to rise. Strength is not loud, child. It is not always seen in clamor or grandeur. Sometimes strength is a whisper, Lord, help me make it through today. Sometimes strength is a tear wiped from your cheek and a decision to keep going anyway. Sometimes strength is the courage to say, I will not quit. I will not bow. I will not lose my hope. And the heavens applaud you for it. The angels gather around you for it. God Himself leans down and says, that's my child, rising again. Do not underestimate the power of small risings. Every day you get out of bed despite your weariness, you have won. Every day you choose to forgive despite the pain, you have conquered. Every day you choose to believe when doubt scratches at your door, you have triumphed. Strength is not always seen in mountains moved, it is also seen in the heart that refuses to surrender. And oh, how radiant you become when divine strength flows through you. You may feel ordinary, but you shine with an extraordinary light. You may think yourself weak, but others will look and see resilience they cannot explain. You may feel fragile, but the Spirit of God within you makes you unbreakable. This is what it means to rise with divine strength, fragile in flesh, yet fortified in spirit, weary in body, yet unyielding in faith. So each morning when your eyes open, do not simply stumble into the day. Rise with the knowledge that you are not rising in your own might. Rise with the awareness that heaven has equipped you. Rise with the assurance that God Himself has clothed you with power. And when you walk out into the world, walk as a child of strength, walk as a child of hope, walk as a child of God who cannot be moved. And if the world asks you, how do you keep going? You can smile and say, I rise because my strength is not mine. I rise because my God lifts me. I rise because I am wrapped in divine power that cannot be taken, cannot be bought, cannot be broken. This, beloved, is the gift of waking with God. You rise not empty but filled, not fragile but fortified, not fearful but fearless. You rise clothed in the majesty of His strength, destined to walk through valleys and still declare victory. For every morning that God wakes you, He does not merely awaken your body, He awakens your strength. He reminds you that you are His, and because you are His, you are strong. So rise, child. Rise in courage, rise in faith, rise in strength that cannot be shaken. Rise with God and let the world see what divine resilience looks like walking among them. Prayer, my beloved, is not a recitation of memorized words strung together without heart. It is not the hollow echo of ritual repeated out of duty. Prayer is not a script recited in monotone to a distant God who does not hear. No, child, prayer is intimacy. Prayer is conversation. Prayer is the soul laying itself bare before the one who already knows, yet still longs to hear. Prayer is not the act of informing God, it is the act of inviting Him. Think of prayer as the whisper of a lover in the night, tender and honest. Think of it as the cry of a child reaching for her mother, not with polished words, but with raw need. Think of it as a friend leaning across the table, confiding secrets, laughing, crying, and being fully known. Prayer is the language of the heart speaking directly to its Creator. It is where humanity and divinity meet in the stillness of the Spirit. When you rise in the morning, do not rush into a list of demands as though God were a clerk behind a counter. Do not treat Him as though He were your errand boy, existing to fulfill your whims. Instead, pause, breathe, and speak as you would to the one who loves you most. Tell Him your truth. Tell Him your fears, tell Him your dreams, however wild, however broken, for He delights in your honesty more than in your performance. Prayer is not about eloquence, it is not about stringing words into perfect poetry, though words may rise like psalms. It is about sincerity. The sigh that escapes your lips when words fail, that is prayer. The tear that slides down your cheek when pain overwhelms, that is prayer. The silence you hold in your soul when you cannot speak, but your heart aches toward heaven, that too is prayer. For prayer is not always spoken. Sometimes it is groaned. Sometimes it is wept. Sometimes it is lived. And let me tell you, child, prayer is not a monologue. It is not only you speaking. Prayer is a conversation, which means you must also listen. Too many of us pray with our mouths, but not with our ears. We pour out, but we do not pause to receive. We beg, but we do not wait to hear. God is not silent, but His voice is gentle. He speaks in the quiet, in the stillness, in the moments between breaths. And if you are rushing through your prayer, you may miss the whisper of the divine. When you pray, speak your heart and then still your soul. Listen for the nudge, the stirring, the peace that settles on you like a warm blanket. Listen for the scripture that rises in your memory, the thought that comes unbidden but holy, the direction that feels less like an idea and more like an answer. That is God speaking. And if you dare to quiet your spirit, you will discover He has been speaking all along. Prayer is a relationship, not a transaction. It is the language of love exchange between Creator and creation. When you pray, you are not manipulating God, you are communing with Him. You are not forcing His hand, you are opening yours. You are not twisting His will, you are aligning yours. Prayer transforms you more than it changes circumstances. For in conversation with God, your vision shifts, your burdens lighten, your faith strengthens. You begin to see not only what you want, but what He wills. Prayer is the bridge between despair and hope. It is the rope that pulls you from the pit of fear into the field of faith. It is the balm that soothes wounds no doctor can reach, the light that shines where no sun can penetrate. In prayer, mountains look smaller, giants seem weaker, storms lose their fury, because prayer connects you to the one who holds authority over them all. Child, do not believe that your prayers must be long to be powerful. Sometimes the simplest cry, "Lord, help me," can shake the very gates of heaven. Do not believe that your prayers must be loud to be heard. Sometimes the quietest whisper spoken in the midnight of your heart resounds louder in heaven than the grandest oration. Do not believe that your prayers must be perfect to be accepted. For God hears the broken stammer, the faltering plea, the wordless groan, and He translates it with love. And oh, the beauty of knowing that when you pray you are never unheard. You are never dismissed. The God who fashioned galaxies bends His ear to listen to you. The one who holds oceans in the hollow of His hand treasures the sound of your voice. Think of it, child. Every time you pray, heaven stops to listen. Angels quiet their songs. Stars pause their shining. Creation stills because a child of God has opened their mouth, and the Father leans close. Prayer is not only asking, it is also thanking. It is remembering to say, "Lord, I am grateful." It is pausing to name the mercies you see and the mercies you forget. It is declaring, "Even if you do not give me another thing, you have already given me enough." Gratitude is the soul of prayer. For prayer without gratitude is complaint, but prayer with gratitude is communion. And let us not forget, prayer is not confined to morning or evening. Prayer is the rhythm of life. It is the conversation that never ends. You can pray while washing dishes, while driving to work, while sitting in silence, while standing in the crowd. Prayer does not require a cathedral, though cathedrals may hold it. Prayer does not require folded hands, though folded hands may honor it. Prayer requires only an open heart, tuned to God, willing to speak and to listen. And here is the glory of prayer. It changes not only your circumstances, but your countenance. Have you not noticed how those who pray deeply carry a certain light upon their faces, a calm in their steps, a resilience in their spirit? That is prayer at work. That is communion transforming them. That is the conversation with God reshaping them into the likeness of His peace. So rise each morning, child, and converse with your Father. Tell Him all, hide nothing. Speak boldly, speak honestly, speak reverently. Then pause, listen, wait, for the God who spoke light into being still speaks into your darkness. The God who called stars by name still calls you by name. And in prayer you will hear Him say, "You are mine, you are loved, you are not alone." Prayer, my beloved, is not ritual, it is relationship, it is not performance, it is presence, it is not duty, it is delight. Walk in it, dwell in it, breathe in it, and you will find that prayer does not merely change your day, it changes your life. There is a holy transaction that takes place when the soul bends low in prayer at the break of dawn. It is not written on papers of the earth, nor does it carry the ink of man's law. It is divine exchange, a secret between the Creator and the created. You see, when we open our mouths trembling with yesterday's aches, today's fears, and tomorrow's uncertainties, heaven leans down and listens. And the Lord in His infinite tenderness trades with us. He takes our burdens, heavy and dragging, and presses into our hands blessings that shine with the fragrance of eternity. Every heart carries its own weight. Some carry the memory of a love gone sour, and some cradle the ache of unpaid bills. Some tremble under the whispers of sickness, while others sag beneath the coldness of betrayal. Yes, every man, every woman, every child walks with invisible stones tied to their souls. Yet in the presence of God, in the quiet utterance of prayer, those stones can be lifted. He does not merely remove them, he replaces them. He takes sorrow and gives joy. He lifts anxiety and lays peace. He takes confusion and plants wisdom. And isn't that the sweetest mystery of life? That we do not walk away empty-handed when we come before him, but full, enriched better than before. Consider the morning hour, when the body stirs from rest and the world is still cloaked in shadows. That is the hour when heaven is most generous, when the Spirit of God is eager to take your load. It is in those moments before the noise of the world barges in that you can whisper, "Lord, here I am, weary and worn. Take what I cannot carry." And in return you feel the quiet strength rise within your chest like a river swelling in springtime. It is not the strength of flesh, no, it is the breath of God moving through you, telling you that the impossible shall be possible, that the unbearable shall become bearable. I have lived long enough to know that burdens are stubborn companions. They grip tight to the shoulders, they press hard on the chest, they echo in the midnight hour. But I have also lived long enough to testify that when surrendered in faith, they lose their sting. There is no grief too ancient, no fear too thick, no worry too tangled, that the Lord cannot untie. He trades the ashes of despair for the oil of gladness. He takes the garment of heaviness and dresses you in the robe of praise. You walk away transformed, not because the world changed, but because the weight upon your spirit shifted from you to him. When you bow to pray, imagine yourself entering a holy market. You bring your sack of troubles, worn, dirty, spilling with anger, regret, and shame. And at the counter of grace, you lay it down. The Lord reaches out, not with judgment, but with mercy. He takes that sack from you, and in exchange, he fills your arms with blessings. Some you can see, some you cannot yet recognize. He gives you patience where you had only frustration. He pours courage into the hollow places where fear once lived. He drops hope into your pockets so that when the day tests you, you will not crumble. That is the economy of heaven. That is the generosity of God. Now understand this truth. The exchange requires surrender. You cannot hold your burdens close, like a child clutching a ragged toy, and still expect your hands to receive new gifts. You must let go. You must trust that the Lord is capable of carrying what you cannot. You must believe that he is more than willing to shoulder the weight that breaks your back. Too many souls pray but never release. They speak the words but hold tight to the worry. My friend, prayer without surrender is a locked door, but prayer with release is a window thrown open to the wind of heaven. And when that wind rushes in, oh, how it changes you. Suddenly the tears that burned your cheeks feel like baptism, cleansing and refreshing. Suddenly the confusion that twisted your mind straightens into clarity. Suddenly the heart that beat with fear now thunders with courage. This is not imagination. This is not illusion. This is the real power of God at work in the lives of those who dare to trust him. It is as real as the sun rising over the horizon, as steady as the ocean kissing the shore. I say to you today, do not underestimate the power of this exchange. When you carry your burdens alone, they multiply. They grow heavy, they grow sharp, they pierce deeper with each passing hour. But when you hand them to the Almighty, they dissolve in his hands, and he presses blessing after blessing into your spirit. You leave with strength, with calm, with joy that does not depend on circumstance. You leave with something the world cannot give and cannot steal. Child of God, hear me. Each morning before your feet touch the ground, whisper your burdens into his hands. Do not wait until the problems shout loud in your ears. Do not wait until despair drags you low. Give it early, give it quick, give it in trust. And then watch with eyes of faith as your day unfolds with new power. You will see opportunities where once you saw dead ends. You will feel laughter bubbling where once tears lived. You will find yourself walking taller, lighter, freer, because you are no longer carrying the old stones of yesterday. And what of the blessings he gives? They are not always wrapped in gold or tied with ribbons. Sometimes a blessing is a thought of peace in the middle of chaos. Sometimes it is the strength to forgive someone who wounded you. Sometimes it is the courage to face a diagnosis, the wisdom to manage your day, the patience to endure. Yes, blessings are often quiet, but they are always mighty. They grow you, they shape you, they fortify you. And in time you will look back and realize that what you once thought a burden was actually the seed of your greatest blessing. So rise each morning and remember, prayer is not a monologue but a divine exchange. God does not merely listen and walk away. He listens, he receives, and he gives. He trades what you cannot bear for what you cannot buy. He takes your nothing and makes it something. He turns your midnight into morning. He transforms your despair into dancing. That is his nature. That is his promise. That is his love. And if you ever doubt it, remember this. The cross itself was the greatest exchange. He took our sin and gave us salvation. He took our death and gave us eternal life. If he could do that upon a hill called Calvary, then surely he can take your daily burdens and exchange them for daily blessings. Surely he can take your sighs and turn them into songs. Surely he can take your pain and shape it into purpose. So, lift your hands, unclench your fists, release the weight. Trust that the same God who woke you this morning is able to carry what you cannot. Speak it, believe it, surrender it. And then step into your day carrying blessings instead of burdens, peace instead of panic, joy instead of sorrow. For this is the divine exchange of prayer, burdens laid down, blessings lifted up, and you, child of God, are richer for it. Each morning when the light slips shyly across the sky, when the dew clings to the blades of grass and the birds rehearse their songs, there is a quiet truth whispering to the world, God has already gone before us. He has already entered the day you are only now awakening to. He has touched the roads, the hallways, the meetings, the conversations you will walk into. He has swept the air clean with mercy, set the table of your life with blessings, and written the rhythm of your journey with grace. So when you open your eyes and rise from your bed, you are not walking into the unknown, you are walking into his prepared place, a space bathed in divine grace. To walk in grace is to walk knowing that you are never alone, never uncovered, never without the invisible hand of God guiding your steps. It is to rise with confidence that no weapon formed against you will prosper, because before the weapon was forged, the Lord had already built your shield. It is to know that even in the valleys, even in the shadows, his presence is thick around you, like a cloak covering your shoulders, like a lamp burning in the night. And let us be plain, life will test you. The day will throw its storms, its interruptions, its unexpected bruises. Bills will arrive, words will cut, doors will close, and hearts may break. But grace, that holy balm, reminds you that none of these things have the final word. Grace is the gentle hand on your back, pushing you forward when despair tells you to sit down. Grace is the whisper in your ear, reminding you that the valley is not your destination but your classroom. Grace is the promise that what was meant for evil can still turn for your good. Yes, grace is the steady rhythm that keeps you walking even when your knees tremble. I have seen grace turn shame into dignity. I have seen it take the trembling hands of the weary and fill them with strength. I have seen it raise the bowed head of the broken and lift their eyes toward hope. Grace is not earned, nor can it be purchased. It is poured out from the heart of God freely, abundantly, without limit. And when you decide each morning to walk in it, you are deciding to walk in power not of your own making, in wisdom not of your own learning, in peace not of your own creation. You are stepping into the currents of heaven, and they will carry you farther than your own strength could ever take you. Think of grace as a river. Some stand on its banks, admiring its beauty, yet refusing to enter. Others dip a timid toe, unsure of its depth. But those who surrender and step in find themselves lifted, carried, moved forward by a force greater than themselves. That is how the believer must live each day. Not straining, not controlling, not gripping tightly at the reins, but trusting that the river of God's grace will take them exactly where they are meant to go. When you release yourself into His current, you will find doors opening that you never knocked on. You will find provision arriving before you even asked. You will discover peace in the middle of chaos and calm in the middle of storms. That is what it means to walk in His grace. Do not mistake grace for weakness. Grace is not timid. Grace is fierce. It is the power that silences accusation. It is the strength that overturns injustice. It is the authority that lifts you from pits dug by enemies and sets you high upon the rock. When you walk in grace, you walk with heaven's backing. You carry the light of God within you, and darkness cannot overcome it. Grace does not erase the battle, but it ensures your victory. Grace does not prevent the rain, but it guarantees the rainbow. Grace does not stop the night, but it promises the dawn. Each step you take under grace is a step marked by favor. Favor is the evidence of God's preparation, the signature of His presence. You arrive at places you did not deserve, but you are welcome. You speak words you did not rehearse, but they fall with wisdom. You find yourself shielded from dangers you never even saw. That is grace working. It is God walking ahead, God walking beside, God walking behind. And when you understand this, you will no longer rise with fear, but with faith. You will no longer stumble under the weight of the unknown, but stride boldly, knowing the ground is already blessed beneath your feet. Beloved, walking in grace means seeing life differently. It means lifting your eyes from the storm and fixing them on the Savior. It means refusing to measure your day by troubles, but instead measuring it by the presence of the one who walks with you. When grace is your garment, worry cannot cling. When grace is your compass, confusion cannot mislead. When grace is your song, despair cannot silence you. The world may try to dictate your story, but grace always rewrites it with redemption. Some mornings you will rise weary, burdened by yesterday's disappointments. Some mornings you will rise uncertain, facing challenges bigger than your strength. And yet if you whisper even the smallest prayer, "Lord, let me walk in your grace today," you will find a shift in the atmosphere of your soul. You will find courage swelling where fear once lived. You will find joy budding where sorrow once rooted. You will find yourself moving forward not because the way is easy, but because His grace has gone before you and made a way where there was no way. Remember, grace is not earned by your goodness. Grace is given because of His goodness. And oh, how liberating it is to know that you do not have to be perfect to receive it. You need only be willing. Willing to trust, willing to lean, willing to believe that the same God who woke you today will walk with you through every step of it. Willing to stand in the assurance that His grace is enough, enough to sustain, enough to strengthen, enough to save. So rise each morning not as one abandoned, but as one accompanied. Step into the day not with dread, but with delight. Let your spirit declare, "I walk in His grace." Let it echo in your thoughts, your words, your actions. For when you live this truth, even the smallest details of your day bear the fingerprints of God. A smile from a stranger, a door held open, a word of kindness, all of these become confirmations that His grace is alive and active around you. Should the day grow dark, should the winds rise and the thunder roar, remind yourself that you are still walking in grace. Storms may rage, but grace steadies. Enemies may rise, but grace protects. Tears may fall, but grace comforts. And when the night is long and heavy, grace holds you close until the morning comes. Always the morning comes. Always His mercies are new. Always His grace is sufficient. Child of God, do not tiptoe into your day as if the world owns it. Stride into it boldly, knowing that it was written with grace for you before your feet ever touched the floor. Walk knowing that you are covered, guided, strengthened. Walk knowing that your failures cannot cancel His mercy. Your fears cannot silence His love. Your enemies cannot outmaneuver His plan. Walk in His grace and you will walk in victory. Yes, rise today and every day as one wrapped in favor. Rise as one whose steps are ordered by the Lord. Rise with the calm assurance that wherever you go, His grace has already been. Rise with the boldness to face whatever comes, for His grace is enough. Walk in it, live in it, breathe in it, and let the world see through the light in your eyes and the strength in your stride that you are a child of the Almighty, clothed, carried, and crowned by His grace. There is a truth that rings louder than the growl of lions, stronger than the crash of thunder, and brighter than the lightning splitting the sky. When you rise with God, no darkness can consume you, no opposition can overthrow you. The very breath of the Almighty sits upon your chest, and that makes you unshakable. Child, understand this. Evil has its weapons, and enemies have their schemes, but you are not defenseless. You are wrapped in the eternal promise that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You are a fortress built on a foundation of faith, and though storms may hurl themselves at your walls, they cannot break you, for the Lord himself is your builder, your keeper, your strong tower. Yes, the world will rise against you. Do not think that walking with God exempts you from trial. In fact, it invites opposition, for darkness despises light. When you carry the flame of God in your soul, shadows will reach out to snuff it. When you speak truth, lies will hiss. When you stand tall in righteousness, corruption will crouch at your feet. But take heart. Opposition is not a sign of your weakness, but of your worth. It means that you are carrying something powerful enough to disturb the kingdom of darkness. It means your very life is a declaration, a testimony, a threat to the enemy's agenda. And if the adversary is trembling, then you, my dear, are already walking in victory. Look back across the canvas of time and see the men and women who dared to trust God. Moses stood before Pharaoh, the mightiest ruler of his age, yet the Red Sea parted at his command. David stood before Goliath, a boy with a sling against a giant with armor, and still the giant fell. Daniel prayed when it was outlawed, and the mouths of lions were closed around him. Esther walked into the king's chamber unsummoned, and her people were saved. Again and again those who chose God found themselves in opposition, but the same God who called them carried them. He turned their battles into blessings, their struggles into songs. That same God lives and moves today, ready to do the same for you. When you wake in the morning, the enemy trembles because your prayer is stronger than his plot. Your worship is louder than his lies. Your faith is a weapon forged in heaven's fire, and it cannot be broken by earthly hands. Understand, child of God, that opposition will come. It will wear many faces. Sometimes it will look like sickness creeping into your body. Sometimes it will sound like gossip whispered behind your back. Sometimes it will appear as closed doors, failed attempts, or unexpected losses. But always remember this: what stands against you is never greater than who stands within you. The power of God in your spirit makes you more than a match for any darkness. Darkness may surround, but it cannot extinguish the smallest flame of faith. Have you ever noticed how a single candle in a pitch-black room changes everything? That is you, beloved. You are that candle. You are that light. And as long as you walk with God, your flame will never die. It may flicker, yes, when winds of trial blow hard. It may bend when storms try to crush it, but it will not go out. Why? Because your flame is not fueled by your strength alone. It is kept alive by the breath of God. So stand firm. When the voices of opposition rise against you, let your soul be still and know that He is God. You do not have to answer every critic nor fight every battle with your bare hands. The Lord fights for you. The Lord vindicates you. The Lord lifts you above the reach of those who dig pits for your feet. Do not waste your strength wrestling in the dirt when your God has called you to soar above the clouds. Keep your eyes fixed on Him, and you will find that opposition becomes your stepping stone, darkness becomes your backdrop for shining, and every attempt to destroy you becomes the very ground where you are elevated. Oh, the enemy will try. He will whisper that you are not enough, that you are forgotten, that you are doomed to fail. But do you not know that those whispers are lies? The enemy only attacks what he fears. And he fears you because you carry the image of God. He fears you because you are chosen, redeemed, beloved. He fears you because your very existence is proof of God's goodness. You survived what was meant to break you. You rose from what was meant to bury you. And here you are, still breathing, still praying, still pressing forward. That is victory, child. That is triumph. That is the evidence of God's hand on your life. When opposition rises, let your faith rise higher. When darkness thickens, let your worship burn brighter. For every dart thrown at you, lift up your shield of faith, and let it be quenched by the fire of heaven. For every snare set before you, let your steps be ordered by the Lord, and you will walk around it untouched. Your power is not in fighting with fists, but in standing firm in faith. Your weapon is not bitterness, but love. Your shield is not anger, but prayer. And oh, what a mighty force a praying soul is. No chain can hold it, no prison can confine it, no enemy can defeat it. So rise each morning declaring, I am covered, I am kept, I am unshakable. Let these words echo through your spirit until even your fears begin to tremble. Walk into your day as though the ground beneath your feet is holy, for it is. Walk as though angels march beside you, for they do. Walk as though victory is already yours, for it is written in your Father's hand. And when the enemy rises against you, smile. Yes, smile. For you know a secret, the battle is not yours but the Lord's. You need only to stand, to trust, to believe. And when the dust settles, when the night lifts, when the storm passes, you will still be standing, stronger, wiser, more radiant. For every opposition you endure becomes a testimony. Every darkness you outshine becomes your stage. Every weapon that fails becomes your song of triumph. Hear me, child of God. You are not fragile. You are not defeated. You are not forgotten. You are mighty through the one who lives within you. You are light in a world of shadows. You are a testimony written in the ink of grace. So fear not the arrows, nor the shadows, nor the whispers. Walk boldly, live freely, shine brightly. For you have power, power over darkness, power over opposition, power that comes not from you, but from the eternal God who calls you his own. And with him victory is not a question. It is a promise. It is already yours. To live as God's beloved is to awaken each morning wearing a crown that no hand of man can snatch away. It is to rise from your bed, stretch your weary limbs, and realize that you are not just another face in the crowd. You are chosen, called, claimed by the Creator of the heavens and the earth. Beloved, do you know what it means to be God's own? It means that your name is whispered in divine chambers, your tears are collected in sacred bottles, and your life is held in hands that shape the stars. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not abandoned. You are beloved. And when you know that truth, when you let it wrap around your soul, you begin to walk differently, to live differently, to love differently. There is a freedom in this belovedness. A freedom from the need to chase after human approval, from the hunger to be validated by voices that shift with the wind. For when God has already called you his, what greater title could you need? When he has wrapped you in his everlasting arms, what embrace could be stronger? To live as his beloved is to stand rooted in identity that does not crumble under criticism, nor inflate under praise. You are steady, like a tree planted by rivers of living water, because you know where your worth flows from. Beloved, too many of us rise each day as if we are orphans, scrambling, hustling, trying to prove our worth in a world that thrives on comparison. We measure ourselves against neighbors, colleagues, even strangers on glowing screens. We wonder if we are enough, if we are beautiful enough, strong enough, worthy enough. But the truth is this, in the eyes of God you were enough before you were even born. His love for you was not earned, it was declared. He saw your beginning and your end, your flaws and your failures, and still he chose you. Still he called you beloved. Still he clothed you in dignity and strength. And when you understand this, something shifts inside. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop shrinking so that others can shine. You stop doubting your voice, your presence, your purpose. You begin to walk as a child of the King. You lift your head high, not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. You are royalty by adoption, heaven's heir, a temple of the Spirit. You cannot be overlooked because God's gaze never leaves you. You cannot be undervalued because the blood of Christ has already declared your worth. Living as his beloved also means carrying yourself with the dignity of one who is deeply loved. It means guarding your heart against bitterness, because a beloved heart has no room for poison. It means forgiving when it is hardest, because the beloved know they themselves have been forgiven much. It means walking gently with others, because the beloved understand how tender love can heal. and it means rising each morning with gratitude because every breath is a reminder that God's love is still holding you together. Now, belovedness does not mean ease. Do not confuse the two. To be beloved does not mean life will spare you from trouble. No, the beloved are often tested, often refined, often called into storms so that their faith may grow strong. But even in the storm, even when waves threaten to swallow you whole, the beloved can rest in assurance. The one who loves me is also the one who commands the sea. The one who calls me precious is the one who holds the universe. The one who claims me as his is the one who will never leave me. That assurance is shelter. That assurance is strength. That assurance is peace. Have you noticed how children who know they are loved move differently? They laugh louder, they explore bolder, they sleep more peacefully. So it is with the children of God. When you know you are beloved, you face the unknown with courage, you endure hardship with hope. You walk into rooms with light spilling from your eyes. You are no longer begging for scraps of attention because you are feasting daily at the table of divine love. Beloved, your identity is not tied to the scars you carry, nor the mistakes you've made, nor the opinions of those who cannot see your worth. Your identity is tied to a cross on Calvary, where love himself declared, "You are mine." And once he declares it, no demon, no enemy, no circumstance can reverse it. You belong to God, you are his beloved, and that means you are secure. That means you are untouchable in your essence, unshakable in your value, unchangeable in your destiny. When you walk into your day with that truth, opposition loses its power. Critics lose their sting. Even fear begins to fade. Because love, the deep, unconditional, eternal love of God, casts out fear. You are not afraid of tomorrow because you know you are loved today. You are not afraid of rejection because you know you are already accepted. You are not afraid of loss because you know you can never lose the love of God. So let your life be a living testimony of belovedness. Let your words carry the gentleness of one who is cherished. Let your hands extend generosity, because you know you are richly supplied. Let your heart sing even in the midnight hour, because the song of the beloved is never silenced. And when you stumble, as we all do, rise again quickly. For a beloved child is never forsaken, never abandoned, never left in the dust. The hand of God lifts, the arm of God steadies, the love of God restores. There will be days when the world tries to convince you otherwise. Days when you feel invisible, when prayers seem unanswered, when loneliness sits heavy. But even then you must remind yourself, feelings do not dictate truth. And the truth is this: nothing can separate you from the love of God. Neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any power, nor height, nor depth, nor anything else in all creation can take you from his embrace. You are his, always, forever, unquestionably. So rise tomorrow and every day after with this anthem on your lips: I am beloved of God. Whisper it until your spirit believes it. Shout it until your walls crumble. Sing it until your doubts bow low. Live it until others see it shining from you like a beacon in the dark. Because the world is starving for love, for affirmation, for worth. And when you live as God's beloved, you become a mirror reflecting his love to others. You remind them that they too are chosen, they too are claimed, they too are beloved. Child of the Most High, you are not ordinary. You are not forgotten dust. You are a living, breathing testimony of divine affection. Walk tall. Walk boldly. Walk with a peace that confounds. Walk with a joy that cannot be explained. Walk with a resilience that stuns. For you are beloved, and belovedness is power. Belovedness is identity. Belovedness is destiny.